Hey, how's it going, guys? I'm Paradoxic, and welcome back to Marvel's The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. So this time we're on episode 5 of season 1, and episode 4, we put arguably one of the heaviest one of the heavier and heaviest episodes of the season, especially with that ending. We ended, I think, throughout the episode we saw John kind of, tackling the idea of taking the serum to become what he thought was the true Cap. Like, he couldn't really handle anyone who was he couldn't even handle the Dora Milaje, regardless of whether they were skilled fighters or not, which they were. He couldn't even handle them. But then his main opponents being the Flag Smashers, being people like rebellious people popped up on super soldier serums. He couldn't even take them, so he kept on tackling with the idea of actually taking the serum and becoming the Cap that the world knew with the actual enhanced strength and everything. And by the end of it, he did. And the first thing he does with it is kill someone. He kills a Flag Smasher, and I didn't actually notice this in the moment, right? I think it was actually people pointing it out on social media that actually got it to me. The same guy he killed was actually the same guy who earlier in the episode actually confessed to Carly at that cemetery where she found the kind of purse full of the bag full of serum vials. It was the same guy who actually confessed to actually growing up as a Captain America fan. So there is a very, very, just not so subtle dark undertones to a guy who grew up being a fan of Steve Rogers' Captain America, and then the next Captain America, John Walker's Captain America, is the one who brutally kills him with the shield and everything. So yeah, and that final scene too changed everything. It definitely changed. I think it definitely changes the way the world sees Cap now. And that final shot was, as dark as it was beautiful too. Like him standing there wearing the shield, but then the side of the shield being drenched in blood, like that. They're like the message that sends, that the legacy, the image, and the kind of meaning of Captain America is now tainted in blood. It's now it now represents revenge and cold-blooded murder, pretty much. So yeah, and yeah, people have been responding in accordance with that scene of what they think of the scene and what they think of the new Cap and everything. So that's been fun to see. And yeah, I mean, it goes without saying, learn to separate the actor and the character. I mean, it's not just as a result of the last episode, but pretty much since the series began, there have been reports of people sending the actor Wyatt Russell hate messages and even death threats. Like, hate messages alone just make no sense whatsoever. But then death threats, that's just, crossing a line that you just should never cross. But then even then, the important thing is, learn to separate the actor from the character. The character is someone that, and John Walker, you're not meant to like him. You're not meant to like that's obvious to anyone. You're not really meant to like him. Whether or not you hate him, that's, completely up to how you view him as a character. But you're very clearly not meant to like him. He is not too much of a likable character. He's not really written to be accepted immediately or accepted anyway at all. But Wyatt Russell, he's literally being paid to do a job. If you're gonna hate him for that, then I don't know what to tell you. But yeah, just learn to separate the actor and the character. If you want to hate the character, that's fine, but do not take it out on the actor just because they're taking up the screen and all that does. I mean, again, it's not the first time this happened. Wyatt Russell is not the only one in, Hollywood history to face this kind of backlash either. There have been so many people who have played so many different villainous characters over the years, and they've all kind of faced this, and it doesn't make it any more right. Him not being the first or the last one doesn't make it any more or less right. So yeah, I don't know. It just felt like something I had to point out. But yeah, you wouldn't think it needed to be pointed out. You would think some people would be, smart enough to actually, realize, oh yeah, it's a completely different thing. So yeah, but anyway, but yeah, that just kind of like seeing that one last time too. I think from what I saw, most people were like, actually sensibly kind of taking their hatred and their kind of stuff out on the actual character itself. But then, people I've seen posting about Wyatt Russell have been posting about how he's a good actor. Like, if he can make you hate his character the way they're supposed to be hated, then the actor is actually doing like a good job. If it's a character that's meant to be hated and the actor makes you love them, then they're clearly really just not a good actor. So, it speaks testament to his own kind of acting ability and his skills and everything. So that much is good. He killed because he killed out of vengeance. He killed as a result of emotionally lashing out. Lamar, we lost Lamar. Lamar was taken from us by Carly. She threw like a superpowered punch, and he went flying back and smacked his head against a stone pillar and died pretty much immediately. So that sent John off the rails, and I think that also kind of makes sense. Like, you know, like Lamar, throughout the episode, we saw Lamar being the one to kind of be kind of civil and actually somewhat agreeing with Sam and Bucky's methods of actually talking to Carly first instead of arresting her and going after her and antagonizing her on the spot and stuff. So he actually agreed with Sam talking to her first and actually trying to, you know, be civil and diplomatic with her. But yeah, and Lamar being that person too, like we've seen him over the episodes being John's kind of anchor, the one that John confides in, the one that John goes to for advice, and him being the one who props John up and encourages him to do a good job and everything. So losing Lamar in that sense means that, you know, he has no one left who actually, you know, who is in the field with him or who believes in him, and he now is more like a lone Captain America. I mean, yeah, I mean, the episode pretty much ended right there and then, so I think this episode will definitely have to deal with whether, if and how he actually faces repercussions for this. Because I think, again, like, the episode was aptly titled "The Whole World Is Watching," and at the ending we did see people out with their cell phones and recording all of this happening. So, you know, without a doubt, those videos will be going on social media, and Captain America is a killer or a murderer or something will be trending. So now him and Spider-Man will have something in common. But yeah, no. But no, I think the government will have to actually take a look at you know, I mean, the question on my head is, in my head, is whether or not the government will actually do something about this in the first place, or if they're going to try and pass it off as like a mission gone wrong. Or like, you know, like, what's the word, like, desperate measures kind of thing, if they're going to say, like, oh, desperate times, like, if they're going to push this under the rug and try and shrug it off, or if they're actually going to try and bring it out and address it and say, no, this was wrong, John did a bad thing, he needs to be suspended without pay or some shit, but I don't know, but either way, we'll see, but Lamar is gone, so I think now it's kind of, you know, now it's more of a question of, you know, what's John going to do, who's he going to confide in, who's he going to talk to with Lamar being gone. I mean, he still has his girlfriend from, I think, the second episode, but we haven't even seen her since then. We saw her in, like, that one opening scene for episode 2, and then since then it's just been Lamar, so I think now they'll actually have to give her some screen time as well, and actually bring her character back for a reason too, So yeah, that stuff should be fun. We had Zemo escaping. Zemo escaped. We had the Dora Milaje. We had the Dora Milaje actually showing up. In the episode before that, we briefly saw Io again, and then the last episode we see that the Io has brought the Dora with her to actually apprehend Zemo, because he's now escaped from prison, so he's no longer in government custody. He's now supposedly a free man and everything. And he's not even out on parole or probation or probation or anything like that. He's literally been broken out by Sam and Bucky, and despite how much Bucky told her that he was just a means to an end, she gave him 8 hours. She gave him 8 hours, and the 8 hours was up, and then her and Dora came into the hotel room, and that scene was beautiful to see. The Dora just kicking ass, just being graceful and badass and everything, and they handed John's ass to him, and that was the scene where he kind of came to the realization that he really badly wanted the serum, because if he couldn't even beat extremely well trained regular humans, then he suddenly needed the serum. So there was that, and there was also like a scene where like Io actually disarmed Bucky's arm, so with a few taps and twists and everything, she can actually, you know, deactivate his arm, and it comes out of its socket and just plops to the ground. So yeah, and I've seen some controversy about that too, like people kind of, you know, arguing about debating pretty much about whether or not the Wakandans should have told Bucky about that. And I think personally, I think the strongest argument I've seen, someone said, like the strongest argument I've seen that someone said was, you know, not only should Bucky have actually been told about that, but Bucky himself should have advocated for that, because I think his whole arc since coming back and being, like, you know, rewiped and recovered and everything, his whole arc since then has been about him struggling to trust himself, him still struggling to fit back into his old identity as Bucky Barnes, knowing everything he's done, him still having those memories, like we saw in the opening. The Hydra brainwashing has gone, but the memories are still there. He still remembers everyone he hurt, everyone he killed and everything, so those memories are still there. So I think because of that being there, because he remembers everything he did, then he would still have that kind of element of his own kind of self-distrust. So he should have advocated. He should have told them, like, put in some kind of failsafe where if I do go berserk or if I do lose control in any way whatsoever, then make sure there's a way to actually disarm my arms, because his bionic arm is arguably his most powerful weapon too. So if you take that out, then he's forced to, in a sense, he's forced to fight with, you know, one arm tied behind his back. So that's like arguably a lot less easy. So yeah, I think that there's been very different kind of ranging opinions from like, oh, they should have told him to, oh, they shouldn't have even done that to begin with. But then I think you know, it would make more sense for Bucky as a character if he actually told them, put in a failsafe, make sure that if I ever step out of line or if I do something that's, you know, not so good, then there's a way to actually disarm me and take away my arm and stuff like that. And I think the important thing to remember, I think people saying that, you know, like you know, like the people disagreeing with Io even doing that to begin with, it's also important to remember she still left him with the arm. I think, you know, I think it's so important to remember that she still left him with the arm. What she did was showing him that if he steps out of line, which he did in that scene, then, you know, it can be disarmed. She didn't pick it up and take it back with her as property of Wakanda. She still left him with the arm. He then picked it up and, you know, plugged it back in again. But, you know, it's literally just showing him what can happen if he actually goes against Wakanda, because the Wakandans are there for their own reasons. They are there because their previous king was lost because Zemo killed him. So he has still committed very, 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 very severe crimes against them. And if you know, the governments outside of Wakanda can't successfully contain him or keep him locked up or whatever, then the Wakandans will handle that for them. So they're there with good reason. They are there with good reason. It's not exactly, you know, like selfish or over emotional or anything like that, but they are there with good reason. So I look forward to seeing how else, and if the Dora come back again. Seeing Io has been great. Io, I think I'm loving seeing more of Io in this series, because I think we've had her in Civil War very briefly, and we've had her even more briefly in Black Panther as well. So I am very curious to see like how much more we can see of her in this, and I'm glad that they're actually giving us giving us more of her in this, and also showing that, you know, she was there helping Bucky, and she was actually there helping to test him and to kind of pull him out of his do like the finishing touches of actually recovering him from his Hydra brainwashing stuff. So it's cool. She is super cool. She is super cool. So I look forward to seeing more of her in this, and hopefully if she shows up in Black Panther 2 as well when that comes out. So we had that, and then yeah, Zemo escaped. So he escaped through the bathroom while the Dora were fighting Sam and Bucky and John and Lamar. So he escaped through there. So now they didn't even find him again. He literally just like escaped down through a drain pipe and everything. So God knows when we'll see him again, but there was that. And yeah, the Power Broker was still sending threatening messages to Carly. He was still sending death threats and warnings and stuff. So I am all the more curious. I think I mentioned this on Twitter. I really badly want Wilson Fisk to be the Power Broker. I don't entirely. I think it's because, like, you know, I think I actually did mention this in a video. I think I actually might have mentioned this in one of the previous reactions. But yeah, like I really badly want Wilson Fisk to be the Power Broker. So yeah, whether or not they go down that route, because I think, you know, it's not. I think for me, it's not solely about, you know, rebooting or recanonizing the Marvel Netflix stuff, but it's also like, you know, actually it kind of would make sense for him, and I think it'll be an interesting way to actually bring him back into the fold too, like him being the Power Broker, him being a man with all these connections, with this whole kind of criminal underground working for him. It would make so much sense, and he just sounds like that kind of guy too, like in like Zemo, knowing him only by reputation, like, you know, the Kingpin is pretty much the kind of guy who would definitely have that kind of reputation and everything, so it would make sense. But whether or not they go down that route, I guess we'll just have to wait and see. But yeah, that is pretty much all I have from the last one. So on to the Falcon and the Soldier, episode 5 of season 1. So this reaction will just be the fair use stuff, so the highlights of the actual episode. But if you guys want to catch the full-length version, that one will be over on Patreon, so you can go check that over there. But yeah, on to episode 5, the Falcon and the Soldier. Let's go.
You don't want to do this. Yeah, we do.
Oh god, are they gonna fight? Are they gonna fight? Oh, jeez, okay. Oh, Jesus. Oh, Bucky can take him. Bucky can take his ass. Oh, he's got the shield. Oh, oh, Bucky! Bucky! Oh, he's dragging him. Oh, he's dragging him. Oh, boy. Oh, he's dragging him. Ugh.
I am Captain America.
Jesus, dude! Oh! No! Pull it off! Pull it off! Take it off! Oh! Oh, I think. Oh, there. Oh. Oh my god. The music, as always, is so damn good. Henry Jackman is a gift to this show. Yeah, the same music when Bucky's actually beating Steve in the Winter Soldier on the helicarrier. Yeah, yeah, the "You're My Mission" scene, so good.
Sometimes there's nothing to do until there's something to do.
That's bizarrely wise.
Well, I'm a bizarrely wise man, Sam.
Yeah, all right.
Torres is cool. He's really, really cool. Yeah. Hope we get to see more of him down the line. I've heard he actually is the Falcon in the comics too. He actually does. He takes up the Falcon mantle after Sam becomes Captain America.
Wait, you forgot the wings.
Yeah.
Keep him.
Oh damn! He's no longer taking the wings. He's just taking the shield. Yeah, that shield is long overdue in his possession. Yeah. If Torres can fix up the wings, then maybe he can take the wings. Yeah.
You will be given an other than honorable discharge, retroactive to the beginning of the month. You will hold no rank in retirement and receive no benefits.
Ah, no military benefits either.
I am Captain America.
Oh jeez, he's gonna turn into a psychopath with that wording. He's gonna turn
And
into
if
a
you
psychopath.
continue,
Valentina Allegra de Fontaine.
Valentina.
Actually, Contessa Valentina Allegra de Fontaine.
Valentina.
No, it's hard. I mean, you would have been doing him a favor if you'd taken out the whole lot.
Okay, she's definitely not here to help.
These
Yeah, she's
guys
definitely
and
not here to help.
ties, You know, I'll tell you something. It has made you very, very.
Is she the
valuable
power
to
broker?
certain
Could she be
people.
connected to the power
I
broker?
actually think it was the second best choice. Picking up the phone when I call you.
Okay, she's either the power broker or she's connected to the power broker.
By the way, don't worry about the shield. I know you don't have it. It doesn't really belong to the government. It's kind of a legal gray area.
I mean, that's not technically a lie, because it's vibranium, aka property of Wakanda. So it's not completely a lie, but I don't know if that's what she was actually referencing. Oh, it's the Civil War tune. I love the way he's rehashing the music for this. Yeah, it fits really well. Hey, Bucky, you know the best thing to do is to hand him over to Wakanda. You know, call Io and the Dora. You know, get them to arrest him. No bullets. Oh, wait, no, the trailer, it showed him the bullets in his hand. Yeah, he would never kill someone like that again. Yeah, he's no longer the Winter Soldier. He doesn't kill like that. He called in the Dora, yeah. Yeah, he called in the Dora.
I heard the brass talking about blowing the POW camp to hell to hide the evidence. But those are my men. My brothers, not evidence. So I bust out of the facility one night, and I brought them boys back.
He liberated soldiers just like Steve.
Bit of difference. And what did I get for saving their lives?
Oh, she scars. God fucking damn it.
They will never let a black man be Captain America. And even if they did, no self-respecting black man would ever want to be.
so how do we get it off the truck?
We just pull it off. Oh, it's Bucky! Bucky's here!
You're welcome. You can sign for it and I'll go.
Oh, he's here to deliver a package on behalf of
Called in a
Wakanda.
favor from the Wakandans.
Oh, is it a new wing pack? Is it a new wing pack? Let Bucky stay. Let Bucky stay. Let him meet Sarah. Yeah.
Hi.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Let's get some Sam and Bucky. We've had plenty of Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Let's get some Sam and Bucky.
Sarah.
Oh yes, yes. He's a helping hand. Literally a very helping hand. Yeah.
They don't care if you wear small t-shirts or if you have 6 toes or if you're your aunt. If you...
Okay, I get it. I mean, you know, people are nice.
It's a hell of a way to describe
Don't
it,
flirt
yeah.
with my sister. Because if you do,
No.
I'll have Carlos cut you up and feed you.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, hey, I mean, dating sites aren't working out. Maybe a little human interaction is what you need.
Oh, please, if it weren't for me, you'd still be rotting away in that Algerian prison.
Batroc?
I can give you double this time.
She's paying off Batroc for missions. Oh, they've got the shield. They're using the shield.
Hey.
Hurry, hurry!
Oh, hurry, put it down. No, they can play with the shield. That's so cool. That's so cool. They're playing with the shield. See, it can still mean something to children to hold. Something that their hero used to use. It can still mean something to them. That is so cool. I mean, again, it'll be better knowing that it wasn't tainted with blood beforehand, but still, it's, again, just optimism here. A bit of optimism. This is cool. This is cool. Seeing them just 2 boys, 5 feet apart, in the underbelly of a ship, working on bolts and nuts and everything.
Hi, Sarah.
I told you specifically that the water pipe was not the problem, and yet here you are.
Yep, Samuel.
Samuel.
When Steve told me what he was planning, I don't think either of us really understood what it felt like for the black man to be handed the shield. How could we? I owe you an apology. I'm sorry.
Thank you. You gotta stop looking to other people to tell you who you are.
I love that. Yeah. It's like playing catch but with the shield. Yeah, literally playing catch with the shield.
You still having those nightmares?
Yeah.
You gotta go to them and be of service. I'm sure there's at least one person in that book who needs closure about something.
Nakajima.
You're the only person who can give it to him.
Nakajima.
We're partners,
Co-workers.
but we're also a couple guys with a mutual friend.
Friends now gone.
So we're a couple of guys.
A couple of guys, just dudes doing things.
Thanks for the help, man. What would be the point of all the pain and sacrifice if I wasn't willing to stand up and keep fighting?
You gotta keep that legacy going. Yeah. Introduce the world to the next Captain America who, oh damn, okay, never mind. There we go. Okay. Oh, okay, never mind. Takes a bit of work when you're on your own and you don't have a super soldier to help you. Yeah. There we go. Now you've got it. He's a hero to his nephews. He's a hero to his nephews.
What are we doing here?
I got some help.
Je suis pas ici pour ta cause. I'm only here to kill the Falcon.
You'll get your chance.
Is that a new Wakandan wing pack? Is it gonna, I mean, it's gonna be vibranium, obviously. But what does it look like? I wanna see it. What does it look like? Can we see it? Can we see it? Okay, in the next episode. Okay. You know what? That's a great tease. A very, very great tease. He's mechanicking? He's welding? A star? Is he gonna make his own shield? He's making his own shield, isn't he? He's making his own shield. Wow. Is he gonna become US agent? Is he gonna become US agent now? Is this how this happens? Yep. Oh, he's going with the red, white, and blue. Does US agent have a red, white, and blue shield? I've seen the costume for US agent, which is the costume that he had as Cap. I don't know if he has a red, white, and blue shield. That's interesting. Okay, yeah, that episode. Heavy. Lots of stuff to see. And again, I think I actually kind of feel it with this series more than I do with WandaVision. With WandaVision, it somehow felt more compact. Like it felt like it. I think because of the story they were going for, and the fact that like there's an alternate reality that's actually kind of fairly self-contained within itself. It felt smaller. But with this one, I don't know. With this one, it feels bigger because it actually with WandaVision, it kind of it manages to it focuses on this smaller world that Wanda has created for herself, but then actually manages to reveal the outside world is still there. But with this one, there is no pretending. The real world is all there. Everything is there. Everyone is out there, and they're bringing them all in for this. So with this one, it feels a lot bigger, a lot more expansive, and it works for the story that way too. So that feels it feels like that there's so much more to take in, which there is. They're not cramming anything into this. It doesn't feel like it feels like like what they're giving us is what they need to give us, what we need to see, the stuff that actually makes sense for the story. So that's really cool. But yeah, that opening fight scene had me on the edge. I knew they wouldn't. I didn't know they wouldn't die, but I was like, is Marvel gonna kill anyone off? And because I knew that wouldn't happen, but I was like, I am at least expecting some minor injuries at most, especially when Walker actually threw Bucky into that electric pillar column thing, and then he got electrocuted, and then his arm got disabled, and he even got knocked out from that too. I think the electricity passed through him and knocked him out. So then that happened. And I was like, oh god, tell me Bucky's okay. But then it's just Sam, a regular human versus a super soldier. So it's like, that had me worried too. Walker looked pretty much ready to kill any one of them at any given point. He was fighting to kill. He was fighting to take down. The one moment for him that went right was when he actually had the other flag smasher pinned down to the ground, and he had the advantage. He had the literal physical advantage. So with this one, it's like, I think with this one they had the advantage of Sam and Bucky being ready to fight him if he doesn't actually cooperate with them. So then they're ready to actually fight back. But yeah, that fight, damn, I was ready. I was ready to actually watch some injuries going on, like some, smashed faces or broken arms or, broken bone, just anything. And especially when you add super soldiers into the mix, those injuries become all the more possible and all the more likely. So, and especially when Bucky got knocked out, so like Sam versus John, I was like, please don't let anything bad happen to him. Please let him be okay. And I thought he would literally try and choke him to death until Bucky actually caught him up, and he ripped the wings off, and then he actually went to get the shield and actually do to him what he did to Flag Smasher, and then Bucky wakes up conveniently and he actually comes back. And yeah, in terms of action and direction and choreography, that scene just had it all. And I think I love the way that the MCU has done super soldiers since the Winter Soldier. The Winter Soldier showed people that Steve can fight, and the Winter Soldier is a badass villain. So the Russos bringing in that kind of trained super soldier choreography for Winter Soldier, I think it really upped the stakes, and it really kind of heightened expectations for what we can expect to see from those kinds of enhanced individuals. So with this one, you somewhat see the same thing too. With Bucky, he still has that training. The training is the one good thing. Pretty much the one good thing that's actually come out of his time as the Winter Soldier and stuff, and it actually allows him to stand his ground when necessary and actually use and to actually use that training as a force for good, at least, instead of bad. So that much is good. And then Sam, he's a trained Avenger too. He was trained long before he became an Avenger, and once he became an Avenger, he learned to fight alongside and against enhanced individuals too, so that was fun. And yeah, and I think I actually saw something someone posted a while ago, of how, Sam was there in Endgame. He was there at the Battle of Earth along with everyone else. He was fighting aliens just like everyone else was, so, it's definitely a new playing field, a new kind of enemies to fight, and he took down one of the big ones too. Hawkeye was running with the gauntlet, and one of the big space gorilla things was actually just chucking people and crushing them, and then Sam comes flying in and actually just kills it with the wings and everything. So he's capable. Sam Wilson is very, very capable with his wing pack. He knows how to use it and everything. So yeah, that was really, really cool to see. And then in the end, they actually managed to take out John. But that fight, the choreography, the music, I think I love the music too. I think it might have been in that one, and it might have been in that scene, was it? I think it was actually the Winter Soldier music. So I think in that scene, I think can I just say, right, Henry freaking Jackman is just beyond. He's one of my absolute favorite kind of score composers. He is just so great. He's so great. His Winter Soldier music was so well done, and they brought him back in Civil War, and he did a great job with that. And now they brought him back for this as well. His work on the Captain America series, I think. Alan Silvestri did the first Avenger one. And I think these movies, the the movies themselves, like, they have very, very kind of distinct kind of themes that match up with the actual themes of the movies itself. So, like, the first Avenger had, like, a more patriotic theme that had fanfare and everything, but the Winter Soldier was a darker, more kind of political thriller type movie with that kind of heavy bass and electro music and stuff. And then there's a similar thing, I feel like a similar mix of the two was brought back to the Civil War, to show what Steve went through and what, you know, like Cap becoming a fugitive and all that kind of stuff. And then for this one, like, because it's the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, like, you know, the Winter Soldier is where most of the music will come from, and it's what introduced both of these characters to us, so it makes sense to rehash it. But the way he's done it, the way he utilizes the music in these scenes, is just, it's so good. It's so good. So hearing, I heard very, very familiar tracks and very familiar, like, melodies and themes, and, like, you know, like, some stuff he did before with fanfare, he does now with, like, smaller piano notes and everything. And in the opening fight scene, he actually, as Sam walks away with the shield, he actually had that kind of music playing. The I don't know what the track is called, but it plays in the movie during the scene where Bucky is actually beating Cap, and he's like, "You're my mission," and he's actually beating that into Steve, and Steve uses the "I'm with you till the end of the line" line on him to actually try and reawaken Bucky inside from the Winter Soldier and everything. So that music is just so great, and just to hear it back again here is just incredible. So the soundtrack for this movie is a mini movie pretty much, but the soundtrack for this series is really, really well utilized and really well done. So hats off to him for that. But yeah, no, and John as well. John is not doing good. John is not doing so great. You'd think he'd actually, you know, you would think he'd feel some remorse, but I think the fact that he doesn't feel remorse is the point. The fact that he actually feels like he did something right, and I think they did a good enough. I think they did a good enough job of actually exploring the double meanings behind that too. Like him screaming, "I am Captain America." He feels entitlement on that title. He feels entitled to that title, to that name, to that symbol, because he was chosen by the U.S. government. So him literally he screams it as Cap, you know, to Sam and Bucky. But I think in like another scene, he actually says it more calmly, like, "I am Captain America." So he's kind of, I feel like, you know, because it's now being taken away from him, he feels all the more entitled to that role now, which really speaks volumes as to who he is and what kind of character he is and what kind of person he is and everything. So there's that. But yeah, that line, and I think the kind of double perspective for me at least comes in, like, in the scene where he's actually talking to the government later on, when he's being given that kind of the other than honorable discharge. He's actually telling them, like, you know, so like his lines in that one, like, "You built me, you trained me, I did everything you asked me to do." So he feels like, you know, I think Erskine's description of Captain America is pretty much the one that, you know, most people feel is right and the one that fits Cap the best, especially because it's what kind of symbolized and cemented Steve as Cap, is the fact that, you know, Captain America is not meant to be the perfect soldier. He's meant to be a good man, but then the government, being the government, they obviously wouldn't tell him that, or even if they did tell him that he was a good man, they would say he's a good man because he's the perfect soldier. They'll be like, "Oh, you did everything you did everything we trained you to do. You did everything we asked you to do. You know, fought for your country and got rid of evil terrorists and villains and everything. So that makes you a good man and everything." But that is nowhere near what made Steve a good man, you know. And I think that kind of idea being drilled into John's head, I think momentarily it kind of gives him the idea that, you know, he momentarily he questions it, but then afterwards he's like, "No, the government chose me to do this. That means I am the one destined to be the next Cap. Steve Rogers or not, I am the one destined to be the next Cap." But also, you know, like him feeling like he's the one, like, who actually deserves to have that shield. And also, I think you know, there's been no direct confirmation from him, but it's also, I think it could also be because he believes that, you know, he kind of looks enough like Steve Rogers that he can still carry that symbol in the same way that Steve did, and he could still, you know, or even worse, just be his own Cap, and be his own symbol and stuff. So that's that. So yeah, we did effectively have the government addressing that. We did have the government addressing what he did, and I think from what they did, it's safe to say they likely don't agree with it. I think, honestly, I'm wondering, had that video not been released, because the fact that he did it in a public space too, I think is what maybe forces them to address it. But had he done it in like an isolated area with no other witnesses around, with no one else, and had he still done it in the building maybe, or like had he done it in like a less public space, and there was no witnesses, no recorded footage, like that word never got out, like would the government still like do it the same way? Because but I mean, if that were the case, then I think it would still be a thing where John himself would twist the events, like he served justice, like he told Lamar's family, like, you know, oh, he, you know, like hopefully Lamar can rest in peace knowing that he, you know, his killer got justice and everything. But with what he did, it was basically like less justice and more like an execution. Like he had him pinned down and then actually beat him to death with the shield. So, you know, I feel like it's a good enough thing that the government's addressing it, but I think I can't help but wonder, like, you know, would they still be doing that if there was no evidence? Because then, I mean, if there was no evidence, then I think again it probably just means that, you know, John would be able to twist it in any way he could. He could probably kind of, you know, make the situation like twist the situation more in his defense. Like, oh, maybe he could say like, oh, the guy killed Lamar and he was still armed, so he could have easily gone up to John too, and John had to disarm him. But then the only other option was killing him too, so maybe he could twist it like that, and then the government, not knowing either way or either side of it, then they'd probably know better either. But either way, the fact that they addressed it at all, I think, is a good enough thing. And they stripped him of the cap title. Like, they went so far as to strip him of any kind of military advantage at all. Like, he was no longer Captain America, but he was also no longer a soldier either. He wouldn't be able to go back into duty as a soldier. And it was, I think they didn't say dishonorable discharge, but then like an other than honorable discharge. So I don't know if that's actually like a different thing, or if it's just like a way of actually softening the blow. But either way, it's a discharge. So, and he gets no military benefits either. He gets no actual benefits after being disbanded from the army. So he goes back to being like a regular old kind of U.S. citizen and everything. So there's that. And then hearing all of this kind of makes John lash out. And then that's when his mentality comes in, like, oh, you built me, you trained me, you made me this, like, the perfect soldier. And now that I've done pretty much what you trained me to, because he was trained as a soldier, he was trained to kill, and to eliminate threats in that way. So, like, now that he's done that, then, you know, now that he's done that, now they're actually choosing to, you know, to strip him of the title and to make him not Captain America, to just, you know, reduce him to plain old John Walker, which to him he sees a weakness. He sees being just John Walker as a weakness. You know, like, he proved that he is a perfect soldier. As a soldier, he feels like he's able to do the right thing. But with Steve, that is the most obvious parallel. Steve wanted to be a good man. See, he wanted to help before he could ever even be a soldier. He was getting rejected constantly. And he wanted to. He was a good man at heart, but he knew that, you know, like being a soldier was the tool that he could use to be that good man. He could go out, he could help people, he could fight. You know, and I mean, given that he came from a somewhat more like a black and white time, he did just think of, you know, oh, fighting baddies is the good thing, and fighting evil is the good thing, and then helping people with that. But then, you know, like, but then as he actually progresses into the modern world, he sees more he sees more grey areas. He sees more grey areas, which is where the Winter Soldier storyline and the Civil War storyline. So I think what they did well with Steve there was actually showing him progressing along with those views. He didn't really insist that things were black and white. He just knew that, you know, what the government wanted of him now, what the world wanted of him now, wasn't exactly who he was, and it didn't align with who he was. It was not what he actually believed in whilst being Captain America. So that's why he then dropped the shield and became Nomad. But then, you know, John Walker, I want to say John Walker wouldn't do something like that, but then at the same time, like, that post-credit scene, like, he's making his own shield. It's not vibranium. It's definitely not vibranium, but he is making his own shield. He's literally taking, like, layers of ringed metal and hammering it and getting stars and spray painting and everything. So he is making his own shield. He is essentially making his own shield. So I think that must be his US agent thing. So he's doing what Steve did, only worse. He is actually enacting his own justice, only worse. Steve kind of was on the run from the government. He was a wanted man. But with John, he's not wanted. He's just not allowed to be Captain America anymore. That's actually what they're telling him. Like, Steve voluntarily dropped that shield, dropped the identity, and became Nomad. But with John, he did a bad thing, and he's being punished for it. And he's like, nope, I won't have this. I'm still Cap. Or maybe at least in this way, he's going to become US agent. So yeah, I think I'm going to look up the pictures of US agent, because I'm not sure if he actually does have the red, white, and blue shield. Yeah, US agent Marvel. So John Walker, U.S. agent. Okay, I think he might do. Oh, okay. Oh, so well, I mean, it's a comic, so it has a different kind of color scheme. So he does, but it's actually black on the outer rim is black, then the inner rim is red, then silver, and then black again. And there's no star. There is no star. It literally just says U.S. It says U.S. So he still has the same kind of suit. He still has the side stripes with the red and the star in the corner and everything. But he's actually it's not blue anymore. It's literally black, red, and white. Yeah. Okay. So still a similar enough shield. So he makes his own shield. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know if he's making this out of like some steel. Like he's very clearly making this out of some spare metals and spare parts he had lying around. Like he even took like a star from his old belt or something, and then like welded that on. And he was welding the shield together too. He had like a whole mechanics helmet and that stuff. So he's doing all that kind of stuff. So I think he is making all of this himself, and I don't know where I don't know if he was actually allowed to keep the old suit, if he was allowed to keep it, or if he's gonna like make his own. But I think the design is very very reminiscent and stuff. But yeah, so yeah, I don't know if he's gonna have to make his own suit, but he's making the shield. He has made the shield. That much is very very evident. So he's gonna make his own shield and he's gonna jump into battle. So now this time he's gonna try and be Cap without being Cap. He's like, okay, you don't want to make me Cap, fine, I'll be something else, but still. He's gonna be Captain America in the way that he believes Captain America should be, or the way that he believes Captain America is. He's not actually still gonna be a good man, or even try, but he's gonna try and be the perfect soldier outside of government jurisdiction. So he's gonna be a wanted man too, because then the government's gonna be like, okay, we told you couldn't be Cap, so now you've gone ahead and ignored us and tried to come up with your own way of being Cap, which is still a no-no. It's still very much against our wishes. So now we're gonna have to try and arrest you too. But now he's a super soldier, so he's gonna have the advantage that they never gave him. So that's going to be fun to see. And yeah, the other thing worth talking about definitely, Sam revisited Isaiah Bradley. He revisited Isaiah Bradley, and oh my god, such a heavy scene, such a heavy kind of portion of story with so much to give and so much to kind of tell. And Carl Lumley is amazing. Carl Lumley, the actor, he is incredible. Just his story, just the way they explored that, the way they had him telling that, and then like him kind of like him having to revisit all those horrors, him having to retell everything he went through to Sam to kind of explain to him exactly what happened and why he's so kind of dormant now is just so disheartening. But yeah, so like I think even more that he was actively kept in the dark and in the darkness away from the world as much as possible. Like he had a wife that he loved so much, and they kept him from her to the extent of like making sure that she never got his letters, and even telling her that he was dead. So yeah, and he was a handful of test subjects. And they all, I think he mentioned at some point that the rest of them like died. Like in the end, he was the only one left. In the end, like they all kind of died out in some way. So he was the only one that was left. But then even then, when they were captured, he heard kind of rumors about the people running the POW camp that they were just gonna blow the whole thing up and like take out all the evidence. Like to them, that's what it was. To them, the POW camp was just evidence of like human experimentation and imprisonment and all that kind of stuff. So then he did essentially what Steve did. I think that kind of parallel too is just horrifying to see that he busted out and he actually he liberated his own men. He liberated I think the POW camp, it could have arguably been the same size, but then his main objective was to actually get to his brothers, to get to his fellow soldiers and to liberate them. And for him doing it, he was, he was faced with consequences. He was faced with consequences of being imprisoned for like 30 more years. I think, was it 30? I think, did he say 30? I think he was in jail. Like that's when the experimentation began. So yeah, the experimentation, I think would have come after that, and it was because he was the only one who survived for as long as he did. He was the only one on which the serum, the game worked, and I think he mentioned that they gave them all different variations. So then his variation was the only one that worked. And for him being him, he was treated then with experimentation, with like, you know, like black box levels of experimentation that only the people doing it would know about. They wouldn't let any of this stuff, you know, go on any kind of official record. It would just be off the books and secretive, and so they could go as dark as they wanted. They would just take blood, like go to the cell and take blood and mistreat him and abuse him and torture him and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, so then that and also I think that makes me wonder, right? Could there have been any Hydra involvement? Because I mean, knowing Hydra, like they likely would have just killed him. They would have just killed him straight ahead. Because then they already had the Winter Soldiers. Like they would have little to no need for him, and he also wouldn't. Him being a black man, he would not fit into their agendas too. So if it was Hydra, then they would have just killed him. Because then they had Bucky, but then they had the other, like the one they had the other five, the other like 4 or 5 or 6 Winter Soldiers we saw in Civil War that Zemo killed in the present day. So it couldn't possibly be Hydra, but I think it would literally just likely just be the U.S. government. It would just be the U.S. government who would put him aside, but then they would glorify Steve. They would put Steve on a pedestal, and even Isaiah kind of knew exactly why. You know, he's literally America's golden boy. He's, you know, fair skin, blue eyes, blonde hair. He's their poster boy for freedom and justice in the American way, and for them that is the American way. For them, you know, that is the American way. The American way did not include a black man taking up the shield and being a hero and stuff. No, for them, like, you know, Isaiah was nothing more than a, you know, like literally just a guinea pig to test on and to take blood samples from and to experiment on and to find out why the serum worked on him and not the others and everything. So, and then Steve would be the one that they would actually give the shield to and give the hero label to and stuff like that. So, I don't know, but even now, even to this, like, whatever they did, it still worked even well to this day, because even he knows. And I think that conversation he has with Sam too, like, he, you know, like, him and Sam are from vastly different times, but then his message is still the same. Like, you know, you think times are different, you think things are different just because you can fly around now using a wing pack and people can recognize you as the Falcon. But even then, that's still kind of like, it's still somewhat like tokenism. Like we've seen Sam facing racial profiling and racism because of what he is, and, you know, the only time it stops is because, oh, they realize he's the Falcon, they realize he's the guy who flies around on a wing pack. It's like, you know, like, they glorify him more for being the Falcon than they do for him being an actual black hero. It's like, oh, he's the Falcon, he works with the Avengers, he's cool. That's what makes him okay to be around. So, but, you know, I think Isaiah definitely kind of notices that, and he kind of lets that slide. But then he's like, you know, but then here's other final words, being like, you know, they will never let a black man be Cap. But then also no self-respecting black man ever would be. And I think that also kind of comes with the whole kind of discrimination thing, like, you know, no self-respecting person would, like, no self-respecting black man would ever put himself through that kind of treatment just to be seen as Cap. Like, you know, you fight your own battles, you fight the way you can, but, you know, you don't ever willingly put yourself through any kind of tension or any kind of unacceptance or anything like that. So his like the fact that Isaiah's mentality has come to, I mean, you can't blame it. After everything he's been through, there is little to no way that he could ever actually see the world being anything other than what it actually is, and it's very, 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 very reflective of what today's society is like. So, like, you know, him having gone through what he's gone through, and him even seeing now how people like him are still treated, you know, he's still kind of, you know, it's horrible to have to say, but it's easy to understand why he's still under that kind of mentality, and him kind of avoiding coming out with his story. And he even said, like, you know, even today, if he did come out with a story, he'd be dead in a day. They'd be dead, like, you know, like, chances are there's still people out there who are connected to those original experiments and to those original cases, and people who, you know, who were still tasked with keeping that secret safe or dying with the secret. So if they found out that, you know, Isaiah's now come out with his story and what really happened, then they would work to actually cover him up and take him down too. So yeah, it's you know, I think it's relatively easy. It's relatively easier to actually take this kind of story in, knowing that the writers and everyone involved actually said ahead of time, like, you know, be careful going into this series. It's going to feature some darker and heavier themes that you're, you know, that you haven't seen as much of yet in the movies, and it's gonna explore things a lot more explicitly without much subtlety, because, you know, subtlety really isn't necessary for this. Like, people need to understand this and hear this. So for that reason, for this story, they're actually exploring all these different themes and going in depth into it and making people understand what's wrong and why it's wrong and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, god damn. And I think it also speaks volumes that much more to how different Steve and the government really are in shades. Because it's like, I think it also makes me flashback to that scene in the first Avenger where Steve is telling Colonel Phillips, I think his name is, Tommy Lee Jones' character, he's telling him, like, he's marked all the Hydra outposts and all the places they need to take out Johann Schmidt and everything, and he's like, and then Colonel Phillips is like, don't worry, we're putting together a team of the best men for you, and he's like, with due respect, me too, and he goes straight to the men he rescued from that camp, like a small group of men, but the same men nonetheless, and I think, that is, I think in general, so looking at it generally, it's obvious that, like, they both meant different men, like, like Colonel Phillips would look at, like, the best and smartest and strongest men, probably all looking the exact freaking same, but then with Steve, he looks at the men who actually fought their way out, and the men that he recognizes, but, like, I think, like, those were also pretty much the men who were from Bucky's unit, so he knows to trust them and to know that they're capable, and it's a somewhat more diverse group too. I think there's people from different origins and ethnicities and everything, and there's like one black guy in the group too. So like knowing the government, they never would have given him that team. They look at other people that they can actually deem as trustworthy and capable, and it wouldn't have, and it might have only considered Bucky. Knowing Bucky, like Steve would never go back into battle without Bucky, so Bucky would have been the one exception they made, but everyone else would be like, okay, you can do something else, but Steve knows them, he trusts them, and he actually actively enlists their specific aid and stuff. So like looking back at that, it's like like that kind of parallel is very easy to see too. And then of course I can't remember what his name was, but that guy, that one black guy in the group, he did then he was a war hero just as much as the rest of them, and then he actually, his grandson, any of us who watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. will know his grandson went on to be another successful and highly capable and highly honored kind of agent of S.H.I.E.L.D., Antoine Triplet, God rest his soul. But I think that also kind of goes to, to kind of show how different Steve was from. I think like hearing this too, like it just actually kind of made me flashback to that scene too, like Steve knowing these men, knowing what they fought through, knowing that they were capable, and I think it's also that kind of parallel between Steve and Isaiah too. Like Steve was able, like him being a white guy with blonde hair and blue eyes, him being that, him having that kind of appearance and that kind of image, he was given that luxury, that privilege that Isaiah never was. Isaiah was locked up and experimented for years, and for those years, or at least for some time before he went into ICE, like Steve was actually able to take his men and take them back into battle and take down the real threat, the actual threat, and everything. So yeah, and now like we still have I think it also kind of, I can't help but think how Sam himself would have grown up. Like Sam would have been one of those many kids growing up, looking at Captain America, seeing Captain America, and hearing stories about him, because I think he still would have been like a grown adult man during the Avengers. Like the Avengers takes place like 2 years before Winter Soldier. He still would have. I think he could have been like the Falcon during that time. He could have been like in the army as a Falcon. But then I think that could have. I don't know if we've actually ever had like real confirmation that Cap was one of Sam's heroes growing up too. But I think that could have also inspired him to go into the military and to become Falcon. But like Sam. I think that's also. I think it's also like a more interesting way to actually to actually show him the real kind of the actual background of heroism and what the country and the government views as heroism compared to what him and Steve and Bucky would have considered as heroism too. Like him growing up hearing all these stories about Captain America, helping people no matter who they are, no matter what they look like, no matter where they come from, and being a good man. And then in this series, he finds out about someone who literally looks exactly like him, comes from his kind of background, and then like seeing how he's been treated, how he's been like the rewards he's been given for trying to fight for his country and trying to save his fellow men and everything. So yeah, now like I think this series is solidifying in so many different ways why Sam is fit to be Captain America. And I think one thing I would say I love, right? I think for so long, like since they announced the series, for so long, I was hoping that they would keep Steve alive so that Steve could be the one to give Sam, motivational nuggets of wisdom, or to give him, like old man speech or something. But I love this so much more. I love this without a doubt. Like, Steve being gone, it's understandably sad, but then it's also a sign, like, we need to move on. But Isaiah being Isaiah, what he's gone through, he is undoubtedly so much more fit to actually show Sam the world is not black and white. So if you want to be Captain America, you have to go into battle with that shield, carrying that symbol, understanding that, but also him being a black man too. There is so much more than just the weight of the shield. Like the shield has its own weight, both physically and metaphorically, and it has its own legacy. But then Sam, being Sam, he has to understand that not everyone is going to agree with him being Captain America, and he has to you know, live with that and fight that. He has to live with that and fight that and show people that, you know, he is a black man and he is Captain America, and, you know, both of those things can and should coexist, and he is, you know, just as worthy of that shield, just as worthy of that mantle, and he is a good man at heart. That is what makes Captain America and stuff. So yeah, and I think I love the conversation that Sam and Bucky had later on too, like even Bucky admitting that too, like, you know, when like him admitting that, you know, when Steve and Bucky agreed to give Sam that shield. I think you know, like, he admits that, you know, like neither of them knew the real weight they were handing over to Sam, or the real responsibility and the experience that he has as a black man too. Like they never really considered that. Like they never really considered, like, how the world would take it, or even if Sam would actually, you know, be able to go forward into a world like this, ready and willing to carry the shield. So for that much, he apologizes. I love that scene. That interaction was really, really great. But yeah, but now, you know, Bucky actually gave him a new suit, so he's got a new suit from Wakanda. So he's I think it's a good enough thing that they didn't even show us so much as a glimpse of the suit. I think it's much better to see him actually flying into battle wearing that. I mean, I'm hoping it's a new wing pack. I'm hoping it's like a newer wing pack. I mean, yeah, because I think he can still fly. He does kind of somewhat fight better flying and everything. So there's that. But either way, I'm hoping that whatever does happen, he, you know, soars majestically with the shield. You know, he has the shield now. With this episode, with him having the shield, that made me so much happier, knowing the shield was back in his possession and everything, and he's able to train with it and to play with it and everything. Just him. It was so great to see. So I can't wait to see him officially suited up as the new Cap. Him being the new Captain America in the next one, actually going into battle, knowing who he is, knowing who he wants to be, and knowing what he is, and wearing that shield and wearing that star and stripes. I mean, assuming the new suit has stars and stripes, you know, you know, like wearing it proudly and being like, you know, be like him being I am Captain America. Hearing I am Captain America from his mouth will be so much more satisfying to hear than having to hear it from John Walker's mouth. So I love it. But yeah, we also got Sam and Bucky. We got Sarah and Bucky. We got the littlest hints, the most hilarious and heartwarming of hints of Sarah and Bucky. But we got Sam and Bucky. Bucky. I think no. Before that, we got Bucky handing over Zemo. Bucky shooting Zemo. I almost forgot. I very nearly forgot that the bullets were going to be in his hand. Because it was in the trailer and everything. Like it was even in the same shot, the same kind of coordination with the camera and everything. Like, you know, he holds the gun up to Zemo, and then he shows the bullets dropping out of his hand. So I figured, I spent so long thinking that was going to be thing. Like, I spent so long before this series, like, you know, thinking like, oh, it's going to be that kind of thing where he tricks Zemo into thinking that he's still a killer, and he's still there to kill Zemo and to take revenge and everything. But then he's going to reveal, like, you know, oh, I'm no longer the Winter Soldier, I'm James Barnes, and he drops the bullets out of his hand. And once it started playing, for whatever reason, my mind completely decided to let that detail and that theory slip out of my head. So it wasn't until the very end I actually, you know, realized what was happening. Like, oh yeah, he's actually about to shoot Zemo. So he even goes that far. He makes Zemo think he's actually going to kill him, and he just, you know, pulls an empty gun, and then he actually shows the bullets in his hand, just, you know, drops them out of his hand and everything. So that was a beautiful kind of parallel. That, you know, he really is. He doesn't have to say it, and it's also in relation, and that's also in relation to the scene with him and Sam talking, but he doesn't have to say it, he just has to show it. He really is no longer the Winter Soldier. He's not a killer. He can kill, he's been trained to kill, but he's no longer a killer. He's not that kind of man anymore. But that was beautiful, and even more beautiful, him calling Io and the Dora Milaje in, him calling the Dora Milaje in, like actually leading them to Zemo, where he was, the Sokovian Memorial. So I think that's where, like, the city used to be. Like, it's in, like, a pretty deep kind of crater, so it's where the city might, like, it might be the chunk that the part of the city was taken out in, but then it's got like a stone carved memorial of like a family in the Sokovian writing, so that is the memorial that he was visiting. So that was cool. So then he actually leaves the Dora Milaje back to them, and Io, it seems Io's forgiven him. She calls him White Wolf again. She called him White Wolf, I think, back when she respected him, but then as soon as she was disappointed in him and disarmed him, she was like, you know, oh, James, like, bastard, damn you, James, and she called him James again. So, I mean, on the one hand, I feel like that would show more of, like, a personal connection, but then it's like, you know, like, I think it's then clear with the tone and the delivery and the way she calls him that, you know, it's like, oh, she calls him White Wolf when she respects him, and everything. But then James is like, oh, that's his. I think people have been calling that his white his not his white name, or kind of his white name, but like there's another his colonizer name, yeah, because like in like his colonizer name, his actual white man name is James and everything. So people have been saying it's because of that. Like she loses respect for him and she calls him James, but then White Wolf is the mantle that they gave him in Wakanda when they kind of refreshed him and rebooted him, essentially. They just pressed F5 on his brain and everything. So they did that. So the White Wolf is who he became once the Winter Soldier programming was actually deleted and overridden and everything. So that's who he's now he's complying with Wakanda. Now he's bringing Ayo and the Dora Milaje back to Zemo, and he's handing Zemo over to them. So now, she did mention that the raft was where he was taking was where they were taking him. So that kind of got me curious. Like the raft, like I guess that would be far more secure. You know what, Steve Rogers is gone now, so it would technically be far more secure. Like, the only reason it was insecure the last time was because Steve literally broke in and broke his teammates out, but now this time no Steve Rogers, and now they can comfortably sit knowing that Zemo himself is in there. So I think it's a better idea to take him back there than to take him back to some flimsy-ass prison cell in Berlin. But now he's in the raft, he's out in the middle of nowhere, so even if he does escape, he's just going to have to swim through miles of water, and even then, it's just not going to work, it's not going to happen, so the raft is arguably more. But I think I was wondering like would they not rather take him back to like a Wakandan prison cell? But then I don't know, because I don't know, because I think they did want to give him a trial. They didn't want to give him a trial, so I don't know if it's like the raft is a temporary in prison before they actually craft up a trial for him, and then maybe they do that or something. But I don't know. But at the same time, I don't know if they'd want to keep him in Wakanda, knowing what he did to them. Maybe the raft is like that. Maybe the raft is that kind of compromise. So don't send him back to the same Berlin prison you broke him out of, but then send him somewhere more secure, somewhere more remote, and stuff like that. And then somewhere there, but they can both agree on everything. So Zemo is still a wanted man, and then the government still hates him for what he did. So there's that. So good to see some rehashing between Ayo and Bucky, and even Ayo warning him against returning to Wakanda too, like being like, things are still kind of pretty tight, so I'd advise against coming back to Wakanda anytime soon. So he's like, yeah, you know what, that's completely fair. I totally get it. So yeah, it was good to see Ayo back again, even briefly. But then they came. The Dora had a mission. They had a mission, and they came and they completed it thanks to Bucky's help too. So they've got their wanted man in custody, probably in joint Wakandan and American custody too. So that's cool. And Bucky called in Bucky called in one last favor from Ayo, and that was the favor. Sam's suit, that giant suitcase was the favor. So he's actually helping Sam get a new wing set, and I think it may well be a new Captain America suit. It may well be like an all vibranium. So good luck to John ripping these bad boys out. The last one was not made of vibranium, but still stronger than his original one. But these one, good luck ripping these ones out. And he's got a new shield, but that shield isn't even vibranium. Like Bucky and Sam are going to be able to rip that thing in half, just like Thanos did in Endgame. So that's gonna be cool to see. But he has a new Wakandan wing pack, so probably all vibranium. Even if it's a suit, like they can still weave or vibranium into their clothes and into their suits and everything. So it would definitely work as actual bulletproof armor too. So maybe similar to the Black Panther suit. I think before the one that was in the necklace, like the one he wore in Civil War was like a vibranium weave mesh that worked as a bulletproof thing. But then the one he got in Black Panther was actually encased in the bracelet and then in the necklace even, and then actually morphed over the rest of his body like a Power Ranger suit and everything, but cooler. So seeing him with the new Wakandan vibranium Captain America suit, I can't wait to see him flying in with that. I imagine it's going to be somewhat similar to his introduction in Winter Soldier. In Winter Soldier, they literally showed him the shadow of him flying over with the wings, and then they actually showed him with the wings over his actual t-shirt and everything. So with this one, I want that introduction, but topped. I want them showing like a shadow or like a silhouette or something against like the sun or something, and then he actually lands on like a high rock or a pedestal or something, and then he actually has the stars and stripes and it's Wakanda and it looks amazing and everything. They're gonna be vibranium buddies, like Sam and Bucky are essentially gonna be vibranium buddies. Like everything they have is vibranium, so it's gonna be cool. But speaking of his old wings, he did leave them with Joaquin Torres. I think that then got me thinking, like, oh, okay, maybe Torres can actually keep it. Like, he literally told him to keep it, so he's actually effectively handing it over to him. And then that reminded me, I did see someone pointing out, like, when Torres was introduced in the first episode, people did say, like, oh, that's Joaquin Torres, the next Falcon from the comics. And it's like, okay, so once in the comics, when Sam picks up the Captain America mantle and he becomes the new Captain America, there is then a new Falcon too, and that becomes Joaquin Torres. So that could be him. So, I mean, it would be interesting. I don't know if they'll actually show it to us, because I think the focus may well be on the new Captain America and Bucky being the Winter Soldier, or maybe even the White Wolf. Maybe he becomes the White Wolf now. Maybe dropping the Winter Soldier mantle as a whole. Not even trying to reform it, just dropping it as a whole. Maybe what brings Bucky and the ones he's wronged the most kind of closure. So instead, he becomes the White Wolf. He became the White Wolf in Wakanda. So now in the finale, he officially becomes the White Wolf. So it's Captain America and the White Wolf this time, and then the Falcon. There's still a new Falcon. Joaquin Torres becomes the Falcon. So that's like a really, really great nod to that kind of potential. So I mean, yeah, whether or not they actually show him flying in or assisting in any way with the wingsuit, we don't know. Because if he can fix it, that means he's also more than capable of becoming the next Falcon. And if he keeps Red Wing, that'll be even better. He can keep Red Wing and have him as a little kind of Electro buddy and everything. So that would be cool. And then unarguably my favorite part of this story, unarguably my favorite part of the episode was Bucky with the fam. Bucky, he initially went to Sam's place in Louisiana and met his family. He initially went there to actually hand over the package. He was like, I'll just sign off on it. And so he was essentially a FedEx guy for Wakanda. But I'm saying, like, the way he said that, I just can't get out of my head. Like, oh, just sign off on this and then I'll be out of here. So it just made me think, oh, he's a like the FedEx deliverer for Wakanda and everything. But he was delivering that new wing, the new suit for Sam. And he even helped. That he came along. He actually showed that like he can just lift that entire thing with one arm and just pop it down again. So without breaking a sweat. So he could do that. But then, I think that kind of parallel with their two kind of socially distinct identities too. Like Sam is the kind of guy, he comes from I think I love how he actually described his family and his whole kind of community. Like this is one of the most welcoming communities out there. Like they don't care. Like his descriptions make me laugh. Like they don't care if you have red hair or 6 fingers or if your mum's your auntie or something. Like him describing no matter who you are, where you come from, what you do, like this community welcomes you, and as long as as long as you're a good person, you do a good, you earn your keep and you do a helping hand or something, like they'll accept you. And Bucky, he is more than willing to help. He like seeing Bucky and Sam working on the boat was so good. It was so just seeing that kind of honestly that whole sequence, that whole 5, 10, 15 minute scene, that gave us pure and wholesome Sam and Bucky content, especially with this show being called The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. It's so easy to actually just imagine that it's actually just like The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. It's just them fighting bad guys and wearing their suits and throwing shields and everything. But no, with this one we actually get some more human, more grounded, funnier, more wholesome and deeper Sam and Bucky content, that's the friendship we want to see. Falcon and Winter Soldier is a partnership, but Sam and Bucky, that's an actual proper friendship right there, comparable to what Steve and Bucky had. But Bucky, he needs friends. He doesn't just need allies in battle. He needs friends on the ground, on Earth, in his life, people that keep him grounded. And Sam can definitely be that kind of guy, and he's more than willing to. He deep down, Sam does love Bucky, and he treats him as a human, and he actually respects him, and he actually wants him to be better and to do better and to get better. And him. Not just him being a guidance counselor for trauma survivors in the military and everything, but he's also deep down a good person who cares about people. He wants to talk to them, he wants to get to know them, he wants to treat them as fellow human beings and everything. So that's also just what makes him fit for the role. So seeing that kind of personality and that kind of friendship shining through in this episode was so pure, so good to see. And even him being Bucky being I wouldn't want to impose on you or your family or your late night family time. I've got a hotel, I've got a flight to catch, I've got to go now, I'll get out of your hair. And then Sam being like, dude, shut the fuck up, just come join us for dinner. Go, you can crash on the couch. It's a comfortable enough couch. You can get a blanket, you can get some water, you can get some food, and you just hang around here. You're more than welcome. You are literally more than welcome. and everything. He's not a stranger in any way. Even if he was, like they likely wouldn't even turn a stranger away either. Like, if it's someone who needed help, they would give it to them and then hope that they can actually go forward doing the same thing for others. Like, that is the kind of man Sam is, So, God, it makes me want to cry, but I'm too happy to cry. I'm actually too happy. I'm too happy thinking about it to cry, that he actually welcomed Bucky in with open arms. He didn't treat him like a trauma survivor either. He treated him like a human being. He treated him as a human being who's willing to help. He gave a lot of, he gave him jobs to do. He's like, okay, hold this and screw this and do that. And he even corrected the thing for, like, when the pipe first started bursting, he couldn't do it, and then Bucky came along and he actually twisted it up and showed him how to do it. So he's like, he very much knows his mechanics, and he has he has the strength for it too. So he can definitely help out, and he can definitely kind of do whatever needs to be done. So he treats him like a human being most of all. Though, like, in his therapy sessions, he's treated more like a trauma survivor and like a PTSD survivor, which he is. But more than that, he needs to have people around him, or at least one person in his life that actually treats him like James Bucky Barnes again, and actually treats him like a friend. And that's exactly what Sam's doing. So just more of this, more of that, please, more of that, thank you. And you know what? Yeah, I love Sarah and Bucky. I knew that was coming. I knew. You know what? I didn't really mention it before, but I think as soon as I saw it in the trailers, like in the trailers, they even showed shots of Bucky in Sam's environment, like Bucky in on the docks in Sam's environment, where his home is, where his family is, where his people are. They showed him in that environment, actually laid back and talking to him in the trailer. So I figured, that must mean that Bucky eventually visits Sam. He sees his home, he sees where he comes from, he sees who his people are, and he gets involved and actually welcomed into that environment too. So that must mean that Bucky meets Sam's family. And I was thinking in my head, it would be funny if they actually showed him even slightly flirting with Sarah, and they gave it to us. They gave it to us in this episode. They even had it. It was as simple. It was as simple as oh, hi, I'm Bucky. Hi, I'm Sarah. And then Sam being like, no, stop it now. Stop it. I gave you a couch to crash on, but that is all you're getting. That is all you're getting. But that scene was so weird. It's such classic Bucky stuff too. Like, Bucky, the majority of the fandom agrees that he is just like a handsome devil, and no man or woman can ever resist him. So he's that kind of guy too. If you say hi to him, he will say hi to you in the warmest voice, like he did with Sarah, and you will have no kind of you won't be able to resist him. And he's just that kind of guy. He just gets along with people, and he's, even in the first Avenger, he was actually more social than Steve was. He was inviting girls out to dances, and he was trying to get Steve double dates and everything. But with this one, it's literally it's just that age old trope, saying hi to someone initially, it gives off that kind of flirty vibe and everything. And he's so warm with the dude. He's like, hi, I'm Bucky, and then so Sarah has her response, and then Sam just catches on quickly, and it happens more than once. I love that too. It was just a one and done thing. It was literally, passing glances and smiles and everything, and him, saying thank you to Sarah and everything, just Sam being like, shut the hell up. That kind of friendship too. That kind of friendship is really good to see. And of course, Sam fully trusts Bucky. He knows he's not going to do anything stupid. He just, he's literally just being friendly. He's just being friendly. So I think that stuff doesn't need to be said, but still, them showing, them even showing Sarah actively kind of, actually letting him in and actually welcoming him too, and just being like, oh, hi, Bucky, and her being warm and friendly with him too was really fun to see. Again, Bucky needs these people, like him, like Sam, Sarah, the kids. Oh my god. The kids. My last I fucked up the kids. The kids. When he woke up on the couch and he saw the kids playing with the shield. Saw the kids playing with the shield. He said hey to them. He was trying to wave hi to them. He was trying to say good morning and wave hey to them. And he actually smiled at them. Before they ran away. But they thought, oh, he's gonna wake up and he's gonna be disappointed or annoyed that we're playing with the shield. But then the kids playing with the shield actually making gunfire noise and them holding the shield. It's so big in the tiny little arms. I think it was I think it might have been the smallest kid that was actually holding the shield. It actually looked like it looked like an actual shield for him, for his size and everything. So they picked it up and they started playing with it. For them, Captain America is still that hero. For them, I think likely it's actually for one thing, they still see Steve Rogers as Captain America, but they also know that their uncle Sam, he fought alongside Captain America. He was one of Steve Rogers' closest friends, and by definition, he was one of Captain America's closest friends. So them playing with the shield, even after the training montage, when we see Sam holding that shield and his nephew just lining the stars, I think that one took me away. That one broke me. Seeing them playing with the shield is one thing, but then seeing them actually being able to actually touch the shield and actually outlining the tracing the star on the emblem and everything, and them actually being that close and seeing their uncle, seeing Uncle Sam. Oh, okay. Yeah, that just I think that scene alone holds so much kind of value and so much heart in itself. It's like a 5-second shot at most, but seeing something like that just, you know, like, and again, like, kids are the ones who look up to these superheroes with the most optimism and the most kind of positivity and the most fight in their souls. Like, they see these superheroes and they're like, you know, oh. And I think it's important. I think that's why it's important for them to understand that, you know, Steve Rogers was Cap, and that, you know, John Walker is not their Cap. Steve Rogers was their Cap. Steve Rogers would have fought for them, and actually he was one who fought alongside their uncle, and he actually was the one who believed in Sam, and he was the one who personally chose their Uncle Sam to be the next carrier of that shield, to be the next wielder, to be the next Captain America, and everything. So for them to be able to hold that shield, to play with it better, but for them to actually see their uncle as the new Captain America, they can easily idolize Captain America. They can easily idolize that hero. But then for them actually being able to, you know, identify their uncle as that kind of a hero, I think it just holds so much value. It holds so much value, and it holds so much kind of, you know, personal kind of strength and everything. So seeing that was just it broke my heart and put it back together again. It actually broke my heart and put it back together, and just seeing those two boys playing with it to begin with, actually, you know, having fun with it, and then finally being told, like, that their uncle, being shown that their uncle is the next Cap, and that they get to idolize their uncle even more now. Just, oh boy, okay, yeah, this show's gonna make me cry. This show's gonna make me actually cry, but that was so beautiful. That was absolutely beautiful. So I'm hoping in the next one he can come home after the big finale battle, and he can come home. He can fly home maybe in the Captain America suit, and then he can show his nephews that as well. He can show his nephews that, and he can show his sister, and he can show all of the people back home. He's no longer the Falcon, but he's something even better. He is Captain America and stuff. He is the official. He is the new Captain America, and he is a part of he like that community will always be his home. He will always come back home to them. That will always be a special place in his heart. But damn, yeah, I did not expect to tear up that easily. But yeah, that scene, those two scenes, I think, you know, them fighting with them play fighting with the shield was like added so much more like playful tones to it. But then them actually being able to see the shield and hold it, and actually, you know, see Sam with it, just holds a lot more value too. So that was beautiful. That was beautiful. And I think seeing Bucky smile too, like Bucky was smiling, seeing them playing with the shield, so like seeing the kids being so playful with the shield, and understanding that it's the tool that a good man uses to be a hero. It's not a tool you use to kill people, or a tool you use to oppress or to enact justice in whatever you define it. It's a tool that a good man uses to do heroism, and the kids see that, and he sees that, like him seeing. So, like, you know, seeing something as pure as kids playing with the shield and actually trying to be Cap or whatever made him smile, because it reminded him of who Steve was, and it reminded him of what that shield is supposed to be, and it reminded him of who Sam is trying to be. It reminded him that, you know, Sam is the true Cap, and he will face struggles, but those struggles, you know, in the end, it can arguably only make him stronger, and it can only kind of, you know, make him stronger in his own convictions as Cap. So yeah, seeing Bucky kind of smiling at that too, and it's such a genuine smile too. Like before this, he's had smile. But before this, it feels like he's had smiles more for the sake of having smiles. But now it's like, you know, being around Sam, being around his family, seeing good people working hard and trying to stay true to themselves. Like, that's what makes him smile, because it reminds him of Steve, and it reminds him of a world that isn't too far gone. People can still achieve those same ideals again if they work hard enough, and if they stay true to themselves and to one another. And if he keeps hanging around with them, he can be the White Wolf. Not just the White Wolf, but he can be Bucky again. He can actually be James again. So yeah, that was great. It was great. And then yeah, I think I didn't recognize it in the moment. I recognized her face so much. I think I didn't write down her whole name, Contessa Valentina de Fontaine. I'm pretty sure there was like another name in the middle of that, but Contessa Valentina de Fontaine. Looking back, I know that's Julia Louis-Dreyfus. I recognized the face and the voice so well, but I had no idea what the name was. Like, I just couldn't remember the name was actually on the tip of my tongue. I was trying to remember. Like, I recognized that face so well. Where is she from? But she's been in things, nothing I've seen in particular, but I recognize her face. She's been in different clips and stuff and memes I've seen. So that's Julia Louis-Dreyfus. Julia Louis-Dreyfus is in the MCU now, and I don't know who she's playing, but I think she had like a purple streak in her hair, so I was like, okay, she has to be playing that and her mannerism. In this episode, she is, in that scene alone, she is solely focused on John Walker. She pays passing attention to his fiance or girlfriend or whatever. Well, I think it's his wife. I think she mentioned like an engagement or something, like she's like, oh, the second best thing you can do besides from marrying this firecracker is picking up my calls. So yes, I don't know who she is. She has evil. She has villain characteristics already, and I think not just because of the purple streak in her hair, but also because like the way she is. She like even she says, oh, what you did was right, and the government, like the ties and suits in that room can't see it yet, but what you did was the right thing. You're on the right track, and you can still be Captain America again, and you can still be that. But apparently she's the one who can help him do that. And I'm wondering, like, she's either the power broker or she's connected to the power broker. I think that would be an interesting twist. Like I think, yeah, I think she may have to be connected to the power broker or something. I don't know, because if I think she's not, she's described him as an asset. So I think that could be simply because he's taken the serum. She knows he took the serum. I think she knows he took the serum. She knows he took the serum. So because of that, she knows that he's a valuable asset. So then the serum obviously is one of the most powerful. Is one of the most powerful and valuable assets that the power broker has, and most of it's gone now. And the last serum was literally taken by John Walker, so he's now the most valuable asset that the power broker could have. So I think because of that, she could be connected to him, or she could even be the power broker herself, like a little surprise switch or something. But either way, she's like she handed him like a black and white card, like nothing on it. One side was black and one side was white. So I think that's like probably like a double meaning kind of thing, or like a little trick card or something. But either way, she has his number, and she can probably contact him anywhere, and anytime she wants. So she said like the second best thing that he can do is actually pick up the phone when she calls and take on her missions and everything. So yeah, so Julia Louis-Dreyfus is in this, and we have yet to see who she plays. So yeah, that should be fun. And speaking of someone else who knows the power broker, Sharon Carter, she is in contact with Batroc. There is so much to question there. There is so much to question and so much to kind of ask what the hell's going on. Not only is she in contact with Batroc, she is also paying him off. So first, she said that if it wasn't for her, he'd still be rotting away in an Algerian prison. So that's taken away. So I can't help but wonder if maybe that connects to the beginning, because the opening of the show literally showed some government official dude being kidnapped, or some military dude being kidnapped, and Batroc was leading that crew. He was leading the crew that kidnapped him. So I can't help but wonder if maybe he was able to go on that mission because Sharon got him out, or maybe if something else happened. Because he was in prison, he was in custody from the Winter Soldier onwards, and then stuff that was years back, and stuff went down. But maybe if he was in the Algerian prison all that time, maybe he got out because of Sharon for whatever reason. So maybe that whole mission went sideways. Well, maybe that whole mission took place because of Sharon. So even now she's saying, "Oh, I can pay you double this time." So she's actively paying him off. So then, where's she getting the money from for that? Because I can't imagine that she'd get she's got all the real paintings. She like her underground art dealing thing has all the real paintings, so those are likely invaluable. So she could make money from that. But then, given that she's connected to the power broker, she likely knows where and how the power broker is, and stuff like that. But either way, she somehow has money to pay him double to get him what he wants. And what he wants is to kill the Falcon. He told Karli that, like what he was given was weapons and tech for Karli and her people to do their thing in the GRC voting thing. So he wants to kill the Falcon. He wants to take revenge on the Falcon for screwing up his mission and for being a general pain in the ass. So he wants to take out Falcon, and now it seems like Sharon is giving the means for that. So I don't know if they're actually trying to turn Sharon into the villain here, or if they're trying to turn her into like an antagonist, because that is not what I like to see. Sharon herself, I think she's understandably angry at the state of affairs, and she's understandably angry at what's actually happened and stuff like that. But I think I still don't know why they would use that to try and turn her into a villain or make her into a villain or anything. But I don't know. I do not know. It doesn't seem right to me. It doesn't feel right. So I don't know what their mission or what their end game is there. But either way, Sharon seems to be giving him the means to pass weapons on to Carly and to let her and her crew do some more damage at the official GRC meeting place and whatever, and then Carly in return actually gives him the means to actually kill the Falcon, or to kill Sam Wilson. Like he knows Sam Wilson as a Falcon, but now the guy is Captain America, so now he's gonna have an even harder time fighting him. So there's that. But yeah, I don't know what they're doing with Sharon. I think there have been theories. There have definitely been theories of Sharon being the power broker, but then I think that would be like such a strange and unnecessary kind of twist of events, like Sharon being turned into some kind of criminal underground kind of like leader now all of a sudden, because of what's happened during the blip and what's happened with her being on the run in Madripoor and everything. Like Madripoor is a kind of place of like, because it feels more like she's been doing all this stuff in Madripoor out of necessity and out of the need to survive, and because she can't go back to the US. But then I still don't know if she would use that opportunity to become the power broker or to become someone else like that in that time. It like for her, like she is meant to be a protagonist, right? So I think I don't know why they would actually send her down that path and what she hopes to achieve. But either way, it's happened, it's happening, and it's happened. So that's that. And connecting back to Valentina, she even said call her Val, but in your head call her Valentina or something. But connecting back to her, she even mentioned that technically the shield isn't the property of the US government, which is true, which is actually true. Like, even to the audience, I feel like that should be true, because the shield, by design and by, relation to the symbol of Captain America, that much is the property of the US government. But the shield itself is made of vibranium. The shield is the only one of its kind. Like, even then, in the first Avenger, it was a prototype. Like, for them, it wasn't even like a finished design. It was just a prototype, but that worked enough. That worked well enough for Cap, and the vibranium itself comes from Wakanda, so I think that's like a joint. I think maybe technically a joint custody, but I think maybe at any point they want, Wakanda can take back that shield, but on the sole basis of it being vibranium and it belonging in Wakanda. But then the shield itself, like that design, still remains to like American government property, and I think that's also proof that with John making his own shield, that's proof that the shield itself, like the design, the mantle, that kind of symbolism belongs to America, and he can make his own circular shield, and he can still make his own disc shield and everything and stuff. But the vibranium in that shield belongs to Wakanda, so they can take it back at any point. So I think her awareness of that is also really, really intriguing. So I wonder if and when they're going to do anything with that. But yeah, that's also just like another interesting point I wanted to kind of mention. And yeah, I love Sam's relationship with Bucky in this one. Again, like that final interaction scene of them in the backyard throwing the shield, training. I love the parallels with the training montage too. Like when he's doing it with Bucky, it's like they're essentially playing catch with the shield, just throwing it at the barriers, and then he throws it, Bucky catches it, Bucky throws it, and then he catches it, so he can do it then. He can actually control it then. But then when he's training by himself, training by himself, there's more of more of like an actual patience and hard work feel to it. Like he throws the shield, it comes back, but then he can't catch it immediately. Sometimes it goes flying over his head, it comes back too fast and too strong for him to catch. But then over time he trains, he does strength training, he does cardio, he does the acrobatics and everything, and he actually eventually learns to be able to throw it and catch it with just these. I mean, with Steve and Bucky being super soldiers, they can catch it with one arm and just catch it with ease. But with Sam, he actively has to turn his whole body and slow down the momentum as it happens. So he throws it and then it comes back, and he actually has to catch it with both hands on both straps and slow it down in place. But then, with super soldiers, they can just stop it with one arm and have it fly back onto their arm too. So I think that kind of parallel, that kind of detail is really cool to see. But also just seeing Sam training with the shield, and seeing him actively trying to be better with the shield and trying to be the new Cap, and actively training himself up to learn to fight with the shield. And so like the shield throws are unarguably one of the coolest things about the shield itself. Like it just looks cool, and like Steve himself having the higher processing power to learn how to actually throw it, and learn how to catch it, and learn how to make it bounce off multiple people and have it come back to him and stuff like that is really, really cool. So seeing Sam eventually learning that thing too is really cool. Like him actually learning how the shield works, how to throw it, when to throw it, and how hard to throw, and all that kind of stuff was really cool. So seeing him like actually blend himself into this new role physically and mentally is just such a cool journey to see. So again, I can't wait to see how it all culminates in the next finale. The next episode is the finale. Like this has been one hell of a series to consume. This has been one hell of a series to watch and to see how it progresses and stuff like that. So I think because there's not yet any news of like an official new Captain America movie with Sam and Bucky in it, I'm hoping that this gets to season 2. I'm hoping this actually gets greenlit for a second season, and then that one maybe can be called Captain America now. Like, so this one is him transitioning from the Falcon to Captain America, and then season 2 can be called Captain America and the White Wolf, maybe like no more Winter Soldier. Like Bucky is literally no longer the Winter Soldier, so now he actually takes up the mantle Wakanda gave him, and he's now the White Wolf. So Captain America and the White Wolf, that could be season 2. That could be it, but I guess we'll just have to wait and see. But you know, his wisdom for Bucky was really cool to see, like him actively telling him, like, you know, you need to stop trying to make yourself feel better through these amends and actually try and make other people feel closure, and you know, that way. And it's like, it's essentially how his therapist has been treating him too. Like, his therapist giving him all these rules and giving him all these things to abide by, and even his final kind of saying me, like, you know, I am making amends, I am no longer Winter Soldier, etc. So like it's mainly kind of targeted to it's mainly kind of targeted to designed even to actually make him drop the Winter Soldier thing completely, but then other people can still just as easily see him as the Winter Soldier and see him with that training and see him like be reminded of what he's done. So he has to actively try and humanize himself a bit more in other people's eyes too, and actually try and, you know, do something that helps other people get closure. So I think that could mean in the finale we get him visiting Nakajima. He could be visiting Mr. Nakajima and kind of confessing his truth and telling him that the Winter Soldier killed his son and all that kind of stuff. So I think that could unarguably be the biggest amendment in his Book of Amends. Like almost everything else has been about people with power, people that have been helped by the Winter Soldier get into places of power or something like that, like we saw in the first episode. But with this one, it's actually someone like an innocent man who was robbed of his only child, and someone who was personally hurt by Bucky and by the Winter Soldier even. So Bucky that's the one amendment Bucky kind of soulfully and heartfully needs to actually make amends to. So it'll be interesting to see how he reaches that point. So yeah. But yeah, that is it. That is pretty much what I got from this episode. It was a huge one. It was a huge one. So I can't wait to see how this all culminates in the finale and how this kind of goes down and everything. But yeah, hopefully the finale gives us a good culmination to the story, and hopefully maybe even it leads into like some kind of teaser for like a new season coming, like a Falcon Soldier season 2 or whatever. But I guess we'll wait and see. But yeah, let me know what you guys thought, what you thought of the story, and what you thought of this episode, and how you think, what your theories are for the finale, and how you think the story might end and everything. But yeah, that is it. So that was the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Season 1, Episode 5. So thank you guys, as always, so much for being here and for watching this video. If you guys enjoyed it, then salt and burn the like button. Comment on what you thought of the episode and what you think is coming up next time on the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Once again, the full-length reaction for this will be available on Patreon, so you can go check that out over there. And yeah, that is it. So, I will see you guys next time.